Welcome to Excel and Excel. Today we're going to have a look at VLOOKUPs and the function behind a VLOOKUP, why you would want or need to use a VLOOKUP in your everyday sort of business activity. Okay, let's get into it. So what I've got here is an example of some data from, say, a business that has product code, a product name, color, and I'm going to use a VLOOKUP to bring in information into this product table on this tab, bring it in from this second worksheet here. Now, the purpose of the VLOOKUP is to combine, it's an easy way to combine information from multiple data sources, so multiple worksheets, and bring it all into the one worksheet. A lot of businesses, although they've got their ERP systems or their inventory system or their accounting software, even though they've got the reporting capabilities, there's instances where you need to combine information from different sources because your current system, maybe they do have a limit of what they can report on, and a lot of the time you might need to draw information from a range of other sources and combine it to present more specific reporting capabilities. So VLOOKUP allows you to take information from different sources, drop it in and combine it with into the one worksheet. As always with a VLOOKUP formula, or with any formula, you start with an equal sign. So in this case, I've used I've color-coded the actual formula so you can understand a little bit better the breakdown of each of the formula's components and how it works. So in this case, the VLOOKUP formula is equal VLOOKUP with open brackets. The first component I've highlighted in blue here is A14, which refers to the product code, and that's the cell that you are wanting to look up. That's the unique value in this table here that we want to use to match up to the second table. Now you need to note that there has to be the same code or the same reference in both, or if you have multiple tabs, maybe you have 3 or 4, it has to be the same reference in each of those because it needs to match this code in this actual table here. And it can be a name, it can be a value, it just has to be a unique reference. In this case, it's a product code, which is a unique reference. So you can see that this first code for the boys Alfie acrylic beanie, the code is here, and that exact code is in this column A here, and that's what it's going to look up when trying to retrieve the information that you require. So the blue in this example is here, reference A14. The second component of the formula is in the green, which is referring to to.table, lookup table, and then it's got A2 to E21, which is like a cell reference. So to.lookup table is this second tab, and the cell references are there. So it's basically telling the formula, look up this code, the product code, then go to the lookup table and search within this information for that unique code, which would be right there. And the third component of the equation in the black is of a number, which is a 4, and that actually looks up, so that refers to what column within the lookup table you want to retrieve the data from. And we've got 4 in the equation, which is A, B, C, D, so column number 4. And that's where it's going to, so it's going to go down the page, it's going to find that reference that we've set out here. It's going to look for that number in this table, and then once it's found that number, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 columns across and retrieve data and drop it in to the cell that we want. And the last component is 0, and I can explain that a little bit later. It's a true or false, so meaning it's an exact or a close match. So let's actually break this down. Let's try and do the actual VLOOKUP now. So always with an equal sign, V, start to type it, it'll bring the VLOOKUP formula. So the first component, as we said, we want to look up the product code, the unique product code. So we're referring to A14. And as in any Excel calculation, you separate each of the components of the formula by a comma. So we go A14 comma, then we want the lookup table. We select the information that we want to look up that code in, and we put a comma in. Then we want to refer to what column we want to retrieve the data. Because we're trying to drop in the wholesale price, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's the fourth column across. Then we put in this true or false reference. So in this case, we want it to match that code exactly, so we put in a 0. You can type the word true, or you can just put in a 0. Both of those work. And what that means is it finds the exact match. So if it can't find a match, it does not return a value. But if you put in, say, an example as a 1, that is actually means false, and that would return the closest match. So if it didn't find that product code, it would go to the next closest code and return that value, which we don't want to do. So we want an exact match. Then we close the parentheses, enter that, bang, it drops it in. So we were wanting to take this product code, look at that table, and draw back the column 4, which is the wholesale price, and drop it in here. There we go. Okay, now we want to drop in this recommended retail price into this cell, so that the methodology is the same. We're just referencing different cells. So we would do the equals VLOOKUP. We want to look it up. We're still referencing the product code. The table remains the same, but in this case we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth column is the recommended retail. So we want to drop that in. We go 0. We want it to be an exact match, and enter. And then that drops in that recommended retail price down there. Now that's a basic VLOOKUP, and you can do as many as you want. You might have, you know, multiple tabs of data, and you can refer to different cells, but the methodology is the same. What you need to make sure, there's a few things to be aware of. A VLOOKUP, which is a vertical lookup, it starts at the top and it works down until it finds the actual reference that you want to refer to, match between the two. So in this case, the 2020 1708, it starts here and it goes down. Now, this information, the cells that it refers to, they always, in the lookup table, they always have to be in the first column, column A. That's the first thing. They need to be in this column. Okay, the second thing you need to remember is that this column A, the reference that you're matching with the original table, original data through to this table here, this column A, the information or the values in that column need to be in ascending order, so from smallest to largest. So if you can see here, 1708, 09, 10, 11, 12, all the way down to 731. So they've got to be in ascending order. And that's the way that the VLOOKUP works. It runs down that column A till it finds the value, and then it moves across to the cells that you wanted to retrieve information from. The other thing is there can't be duplicates. So this code can't appear multiple times, because what that will do, it will throw off your values that you return. Because it's vertical and it runs down, it finds the first instance of that code you want to match, and then it goes to that. If that same code appeared down here, it would only match the first one and return that value. So make sure there's no duplicates in there, otherwise the value won't return what you're after, or there'll be discrepancies. And that's important if you're drawing quantities or sales and there's the actual product code appears multiple times. It will only bring in the total of the sales related to that product code, and the first time it won't go and sum all the additional times that code appears. And I can go through, when we look at the pivot tables, the fastest way to eliminate duplicates and just to have that information appearing once in your lookup table. But that's sort of preparing information for the VLOOKUP, which we'll go through a little bit later.